as a manager, do you want to know one of the most powerful things you could do to improve the teamwork in your team, to improve productivity, and generally have a lot happier people around you? Well, in this week's video, I'm sharing with you a team building activity that you could do. It takes, on the whole, no more than 2 hours, and the results will astound you. And it involves a kiss. More about that later. By the end of this video, you will learn why investing just a little bit of time on how you work as a team can step change your performance, help your team bond as a team, understand more, and have a greater sense of purpose. I'm going to share a framework that can help you do that and then take you step by step through how to run the meeting where this could all happen. I talked recently with someone who told me about a time when they had to prepare a report. It was on his roles and responsibilities. His manager was very keen that he produce this report, but he got an increasing feeling that A, nobody read it, B, nobody asked him any questions on it. And he was thinking, well, if I just didn't do it, would anyone notice? And then he was not going to be there, and the report was not done, and not one person followed him up on it. And this was a catalyst for him to go, this is ridiculous, utter madness. I hate doing this report. Yet here I am doing it. I'm going to go and find out what people use it for and think about it. He went and found a way to engage with the stakeholders and come up with a solution that was way more simple to do and delivered what people needed it to do, but saved time. Your team and most teams have work and workflow that has kind of mutated and changed, been added to, that is labor intensive, that often is not clear why it is being done. And it's frustrating. People don't like working on things that they can see no value in doing. But if they're being asked to, they kind of do it. Most people accept it's the way it is. The leader who can help their team find out where the duff bits are and the busy work that's not really doing things and free up time for the more high value work and help their team solve that problem, the more valued they are. The other benefit of it gives clarity to everybody else about what work is in your team and how it works. And there's a greater sense of understanding and a greater sense of empathy. So if you can do that, it is a very valuable thing to do and creates a stronger sense of team. The question then becomes, how do you do that? So I'm going to introduce to you a framework called KISS. KISS stands for Keep, Improve, Start, Stop. And it's built on the stop, start, continue that you may well be familiar with. I really like stop, start, continue, but I like KISS even more because the I, improve, I think often helps people work out ways to simplify and reduce complexity and make the doing the work easier, freeing up time so that they can then work on the high value activities. I've facilitated these kind of activities lots of times with clients. And by far the best way have found is bringing your team together to talk about the problem and come up with their own action plan. So you don't need to know all the answers. What you need to be able to do is ask the right questions and design and guide the conversation so that at the end, you have a very clear action plan of things in your workflow that you will keep because they're of value, that you'll improve by potentially simplifying or removing blockages, especially if you're starting and adding more work into the bucket and stopping things if they add no value. I'm going to now take you through step by step how to run a meeting like that. On the whole, these sessions take about 2 hours, I would say, for an average team. And the first thing you want to do for everybody is clarify the goal. And the goal is about achieving your work objectives better and then making work as efficient, easy to do, and engaging as possible. So if this is the goal, how can we all work better together and achieve our goals? The second thing to do before you start is define the scope, the out of scope, what we are not going to talk about. that involves a bit of thought beforehand in thinking about what you're working on and thinking, are there things actually this meeting is not right to cover? The next thing to do once you've set the goal and the scope is to do some form of assessment in the meeting to find out what's working and what's not working. The best way I would go about doing this is on a wall, put a smiley face on a Post-it note on one side and a sad-looking face on a Post-it note the other side, and then have Post-it notes out on the table and ask your team to put one topic on each Post-it note for things that they think are strengths and are going well, and things that they think are issues that might be holding them back or not working so well. Spend a couple of minutes quiet time letting everybody write as many Post-it notes as possible, and then invite everybody up to put their Post-its on under the happy face or under the sad face. Once you've done that, the next step is grouping things up. So I'd break your team into two bands. Now look at what's there, group them up. And in the discussion, your team will quickly start to say, oh, yeah, we've all got issues around that. Or maybe there's an area that somebody sees is quite different to the way that everybody else does. And it's an opportunity to explore. This is a great way of getting the issues and the strengths out in an engaging way that encourages conversation between the team. If you've separated, obviously you then want to debrief each other. Your role in this is to stand back, not to be a participant, but to be able to summarize what you're hearing and what you're seeing and ask questions for clarification. So don't get involved yourself. Stand back and let the team work it out and guide the conversation. Once you've established the strengths and the weaknesses, as it were, you want to establish a sense of priority. What are the biggest things to solve first? So I would give each person three crosses and ask them to write a little star on the ones they see the most important. This will be important when you get to your action plan because you want to be able to prioritize the actions according to highest value wins. Okay, you've done all that. Now here comes the kiss. I would take a flip chart and I would put a KISS, keep, improve, start, stop. And then I would just spend time having the discussion about, okay, in solving this or moving this, is it a keep? Is it an improve? Is it a start? Or is it a stop? And what you'll find is all those things on all that world will gradually move into a bucket. Things that are keep but not improve, we needn't focus on those. That's just keep doing. What we're going to do now is focus on the improves, the starts, and the stops. So the starting point I would look at is the improve. What can we do here which would simplify, make it easier? What would you need to do? And have a discussion. And I would have a separate flip chart for each one. Think about what the action plan is. What would you need to do? So what's the action? And write that down. Next, look at the start. If you were starting new work or adding new work, what would need to happen in order for that work to happen? And then work on the stop. Once you've done that part, you should have an action list of things to do. So down the side, and I want you to write who and when and start to work through who will be doing it, who will be working on this, and when. This point, you need another assessment. How easy is this action plan to do? Because if the action plan is overwhelming and you're going to just end up stopping work trying to implement the action plan, you need to prioritize it. And a great way of thinking about it is like every 12 weeks, each quarter, we look to improve the way in which we work. So you may say, right, we're just going to work on these three bits first. And then the next quarter, we'll come back to these ones and get those things done and develop a sequence for improving the way in which you work so that it doesn't stop and overwhelm you. What it'll also do is create a sense of momentum, which teams find validating. It's great when you start to empower your team to solve these problems and gain a sense of momentum, gain a sense of purpose. And at least everybody knows that the work they are doing is high value work. There will still be bugbears. There will still be painy jobs that just need to get done. But at least you've tried to take as much of the busy, useless work out and find the best way to do these things. When you finish, it's like, hooray, we have an action plan. You want to monitor the implementation of that plan. So it might be using team meetings. You might have a channel in your Teams or your Slack, which is about this as it progresses so that you can talk with each other and make this plan come alive. You're looking for opportunities for feedback as the leader, and you're keeping the momentum going. And every time something goes off that list and improves the situation, you want to give positive feedback and be celebrating the team's success, because the team will feel real ownership if you do that. Now, this is not a one and done activity. It's something you might want to do again in the future. It's a tool that you can return to. Is it still the same or have things changed? Because it just does. It's never a fixed world in which we work anymore, is it? Now, in order to help you do this, I've created some free slides that you can download, fill in your specific detail, and then you'll be able to use it in your team meeting. And in the notes of each of those slides is the actual actions that you need to take in order to do this. If you have any questions on this, put this in the comments below. I'm really happy to help. But importantly, let me know how you get on. If you do this, please reach out and tell me what happened, what worked, what did you find more difficult, and do you need any help from me? I promise you, doing this can do more to build your team and a sense of we're in this together, mutual understanding and respect, because it solves so many of those annoying day-to-day bugbears that drive everybody crazy. You will also have some great conversations along the way of resolving it. So it's a great team building activity. This, I would say, is a high value meeting. In this video here, I share tips how to shine in any meeting, and you may find it useful to watch before you prepare. So that's where I'd go next. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.